As a homeowner, responsibility extends to ensuring the safety and legality of the property, which includes adhering to building codes. The National Electrical Code prohibits installing electrical panels in bathrooms for several reasons. Firstly, bathrooms are typically wet and humid environments that can compromise the integrity of electrical components. Secondly, in the event of a water leak or flood, the breaker box could become inaccessible or damaged. There are consequences of a code violation. Firstly, potential safety hazards exist. Secondly, there is an increased risk of electrical fires. Thirdly, difficulty in selling or renting the home may arise. Fourthly, possible fine or legal liability could occur. Legal obligations exist to rectify this code violation. This may involve relocating the breaker box to a dry, accessible location outside the bathroom. If the existing breaker box is old or inadequate, it may be necessary to install a new one that meets current code requirements. To proceed, firstly, contact a licensed electrician to assess the situation and provide a cost estimate for the necessary repairs. Secondly, obtain permits if required by the local building department. Thirdly, schedule the work to be done as soon as possible to ensure the safety of the home. The National Electrical Code underwent revisions in 2002. If a home was built before this date, it may not have been required to comply with this specific code provision at the time of construction. However, responsibility still exists for ensuring compliance with current building codes. Electrical panels, also known as breaker boxes or load centers, are critical components of a home's electrical system. They serve as the central distribution point for electricity, receiving power from the utility company and distributing it to various circuits throughout the house. These circuits power lights, appliances, and other electrical devices. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards and guidelines for safe electrical installations. It is developed and updated every 3 years by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. While the NEC itself is not law, it is widely adopted by state and local jurisdictions, becoming the basis for their electrical codes. The NEC aims to protect people and property from electrical hazards by providing detailed requirements for wiring, equipment, and installations. The presence of a breaker box in a bathroom presents several safety concerns. Bathrooms are inherently wet and humid environments due to the presence of showers, sinks, and toilets. Water and electricity do not mix, and the combination can create dangerous situations. Firstly, moisture can corrode electrical components within the breaker box, leading to malfunctions and potential failures. Secondly, if water comes into direct contact with live electrical parts, it can create a shock hazard for anyone who touches the breaker box or nearby fixtures. Thirdly, humidity can cause condensation to form inside the breaker box, creating a path for electrical current to leak to ground, resulting in a ground fault. Ground faults can trip breakers, causing power outages, and can also pose a shock hazard. The NEC prohibits the installation of electrical panels in bathrooms to minimize these risks. The code recognizes that bathrooms are not suitable environments for electrical equipment due to the potential for water exposure and humidity. While the specific wording of the NEC provision may vary slightly depending on the edition, the intent is always to keep electrical panels away from areas where water is likely to be present. If a breaker box is located in a bathroom, it is considered a code violation. As a homeowner, several obligations arise. Firstly, responsibility exists for ensuring that the home complies with all applicable building codes, including the NEC. This includes addressing any code violations that are discovered. Secondly, it is essential to take steps to rectify the violation to protect the safety of the occupants and prevent potential electrical hazards. Thirdly, failure to address a code violation can have serious consequences, including difficulty selling or renting the home, potential fines or legal liability, and increased risk of electrical fires. Addressing a breaker box located in a bathroom typically involves relocating it to a more suitable location. The ideal location for a breaker box is a dry, accessible area that is not subject to moisture or humidity. Common locations include hallways, utility rooms, garages, or basements. When relocating a breaker box, it is important to follow all applicable codes and safety precautions. This includes disconnecting the power to the breaker box before starting any work, using appropriate wiring methods and materials, and ensuring that the new location meets all clearance requirements. In some cases, it may also be necessary to upgrade the breaker box to meet current code requirements. This may involve replacing the existing breaker box with a new one that has a higher amperage rating or adding additional circuits to accommodate the home's electrical needs. It is crucial to hire a licensed electrician to perform the work of relocating or upgrading a breaker box. The electricians have the knowledge, skills, and experience to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. They can also help to identify any other potential electrical hazards in the home and recommend appropriate solutions. Before starting any electrical work, it is important to obtain the necessary permits from the local building department. Permits ensure that the work is inspected by a qualified inspector to verify that it meets all applicable codes and standards. Obtaining permits also helps to protect the homeowner from liability in case of an accident or injury. Several steps can be taken to address a breaker box located in a bathroom. Firstly, contact a licensed electrician to assess the situation and provide a cost estimate for the necessary repairs. The electrician can evaluate the existing electrical system, identify any code violations, and recommend the best course of action. Secondly, obtain permits from the local building department before starting any work. The electrician can assist with the permit application process. Thirdly, schedule the work to be done as soon as possible to ensure the safety of the home. The electrician will disconnect the power to the breaker box, relocate it to a more suitable location, and reconnect the wiring. Fourthly, have the work inspected by a qualified inspector to verify that it meets all applicable codes and standards. The inspector will typically issue a certificate of compliance upon successful completion of the inspection. While the NEC is updated every 3 years, older homes may not have been required to comply with the current code provisions at the time of construction. However, as a homeowner, responsibility still exists for ensuring compliance with current building codes. This means that even if the breaker box was installed in the bathroom before the current code requirements were in place, it is still necessary to address the violation to protect the safety of the occupants and prevent potential electrical hazards. Electrical safety is paramount, and addressing code violations is an essential part of maintaining a safe home. By taking the necessary steps to rectify a breaker box located in a bathroom, homeowners can protect themselves and their families from potential electrical hazards and ensure that their homes comply with all applicable codes and standards. Remember to always consult with a licensed electrician for any electrical work, and never attempt to perform electrical repairs unless properly trained and qualified. The National Electrical Code serves as the cornerstone for electrical safety in residential, commercial, and industrial settings. It provides a comprehensive set of guidelines and requirements for electrical installations, equipment, and wiring methods, aiming to minimize the risk of electrical shocks, fires, and other hazards. Understanding the key principles and provisions of the NEC is crucial for electricians, contractors, inspectors, and homeowners alike. The NEC is organized into chapters, articles, and sections, each addressing specific aspects of electrical installations. Chapter 1 covers general requirements, including definitions, scope, and administrative rules. Chapters 2 through 7 cover specific types of installations, such as wiring methods, equipment, special occupancies, and special equipment. Chapter 8 covers communication systems, such as telephone, data, and cable television. Chapter 9 contains tables and examples to assist in applying the code. The NEC provides detailed requirements for wiring methods, including the types of conductors, cables, and raceways that are permitted for different applications. It also specifies the ampacity of conductors, which is the maximum amount of current that a conductor can safely carry without overheating. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories, or all. Listing and labeling indicate that the equipment has been tested and found to comply with applicable safety standards. The NEC also specifies the grounding requirements for electrical systems. Grounding is the process of connecting electrical equipment and systems to the earth, providing a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source. Grounding helps to protect people from electric shock and reduces the risk of electrical fires. The NEC includes specific requirements for overcurrent protection, such as fuses and circuit breakers. Overcurrent protection devices are designed to interrupt the flow of current in a circuit if it exceeds a safe level, preventing damage to equipment and reducing the risk of electrical fires. The NEC also addresses the installation of electrical equipment in special occupancies, such as hazardous locations, healthcare facilities, and swimming pools. These occupancies require special precautions to protect people from electrical hazards. The NEC is a complex and comprehensive document, and it is essential to stay up to date with the latest edition. Electricians and contractors should receive regular training on the NEC to ensure that they are familiar with the latest requirements. Homeowners can also benefit from learning about the NEC, as it can help them to understand the safety aspects of their home's electrical system. When working with electricity, it is always important to follow safe work practices. This includes disconnecting the power before working on any electrical equipment, using appropriate personal protective equipment, and following all applicable codes and standards. The National Electrical Code is an essential tool for ensuring electrical safety. By understanding and following the NEC, electricians, contractors, inspectors, and homeowners can help to protect people and property from electrical hazards. Remember to always consult with a qualified electrician for any electrical work, and never attempt to perform electrical repairs unless properly trained and qualified. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a licensed electrician or qualified professional for specific electrical needs. Firstly, ensure all electrical work complies with local codes and regulations. Secondly, prioritize safety by hiring qualified professionals. Thirdly, regularly inspect electrical systems for potential hazards. Fourthly, address any electrical issues promptly to prevent accidents. Fifthly, never overload electrical circuits or outlets. Sixthly, use surge protectors to safeguard electronic devices. Seventhly, install ground fault circuit interrupters or GFCIs in wet areas. Eighthly, keep electrical panels accessible and clear of obstructions. Ninthly, educate household members about electrical safety. Tenthly, have a qualified electrician perform routine maintenance.